UBC Inspiring Uganda. With us here in studios are two gentlemen from the education world, if I could borrow those words. But again, we did see most of our young people there who did the primary leaving examination. Results came out yesterday. We did have that live feed with you. But right next to me here is Dr. Tony Mukasa Lusambu, who is, of course, from the Ministry of Education, and he is, of course, in charge here, is commissioner in charge of basic education. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for making time. And at the extreme end there with him is a teacher, if I could call him a head teacher, from that is Winterland Primary School, and that is Mr. Ntege Benon Sempala, and he's here to talk about what this really means to us. We've been seeing the performance. He deals directly with the pupils, and those are things that we need to be talking about around this time, of course, knowing that we've just got the results, but a number of things. But first of all, what does it feel like? I'll throw this back at you. Every time this year the results come out, you're a head teacher, how do you feel
when the results come back?
Yeah,
we feel very good.
Yeah,
because it takes 10 years educating a child. Yeah. And it's the only national examination that we do. So we get happy when the results come back. Yeah.
Interesting. So when this time comes about, well, let's see, when we're going to see our students sit for exams, and then of course the aftermath of it at the end of the day, what are those things that you are keen on or look out for at the end of the day?
At the end of the day, we want to check ourselves, the system, the entire system, the curriculum, the teaching methods, and what we have been able to give out to the schools, the textbooks. We want to check, because these results reveal all this. Yeah. The results reveal the system, the entire process. So at the presentation of the results, really many things happen. I'm telling you, the whole of next week we shall be in meetings discussing these results, subject by subject. What's not going right? What's going wrong? Where did we go wrong? Where did we do best? How can we maintain? How can we improve?
Interesting. Now, over 671,000 plus sat for the exams. But of course, a couple of things happened. Every now and then, the numbers increase, which means our parents or guardians are now more willing, to give an education to the child. Okay, but are there any trends? Have you seen a change in the trends over the years?
Yeah, in addition to parents enthusiastic to take children to school, I think parents are also prolific. Yeah? They are producing more children.
Yeah.
So, and this is one of our challenges in the Ministry of Education and Sports. We expect more children in school every year. Unfortunately, we don't get a commensurate rate of resources coming to the education sector. So that produces a challenge. But definitely every year there are different inputs. Every year there are different challenges. And as we move along, we tend to address these challenges and find ways and solutions.
Okay. Mr. Ntege,
yes,
the numbers, we've been talking about how every year, the numbers are increasing. Does this, yes. Does this affect you one or another, being a head teacher, really?
No, it doesn't affect us. Reason being that there are so many schools that are opening now. So we share.
Well said.
Yeah. So it doesn't affect us because it is our work.
And they are in business.
They're in business, yeah. Very interesting.
So the more children are produced, or the more children are enrolled, the more you develop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Let us look at the performance.
Yes, please. Yeah, the performance this year, or last year, the performance improved. If you compare 2017, 2018, there was an improvement. But personally, I'm very happy about the performance in English.
Okay.
Because out there, the outcry has been that now that they are teaching our children using the local languages in the lower classes, P1, P2, P3. That means our children will not speak good English. Our children will never be competent at English. Yes, yet it is the language that is used after primary. Now, revelation has come. That yes, we teach these children using the local languages in the lower classes. But when it comes to primary living examination, they can perform. And it is another indicator that we should really try our best to teach our children our local languages at the early age, so that they grasp the skill, they grasp the knowledge, they get to know and understand issues in their local languages, and they get the discipline, also the behavior, the character. Then they transit to English when they have grasped all this, and the translation into English becomes a walkover.
That is interesting. So how do you go about preparing your students? What is that thing that is different about Winterland, whereby, you know, we've prepared our students, they are going to go out there, sit their exams, and we're confident they're going to get good result?
We started at Gen right from nursery section, where we have the baby class, and someone has to spend there 3 years, baby class to class, the middle class. Then we go to primary, where someone has to spend 7 years. But during the 7 years, we have to assess these children to make sure they are at the level we want them to be. So we continue with that. However, that does not mean that we eliminate some. We make sure that we bring all of them.
All those who started section.
So that they end up the 10 years when they are successful in the examination.
This is very interesting, though, because so many times when you're a parent and you take your child out there, you're expecting and hoping, you know, that they get to perform better. But let's look at the numbers of candidates' results that have been withheld. 3,500 of those.
It's really alarming. It's alarming, but these are the characters we really want to track down. And I must also share with you that it's not very likely in very near future that we shall completely do away with such people. But the issue is to continue reducing them. And if you realize the trends, the numbers of withheld results go on reducing, which means we are on track. But now we are going to be a lot more serious. You've already heard we have gone to court. And we have also been able to be accepted in the National Security Council. That examination issues have now become national security issues. So we are going to use all the security organs within the process. And now that we are trying to catch up with everybody involved in this malpractice, we want to go to court, and actually some of the culprits are already in court. And if court proves that this teacher so and so really got involved in this malpractice, teacher so and so is the one who started the racket, this teacher is going to get out of the profession.
Not just, you know,
no more dilly-dallying. So we are going to deregister the teachers.
So you can never teach anywhere?
No. The teaching certificate shall be cancelled, because it is really a danger to our society. Look, when there is malpractice in a school, all the children get to know. There is no way you can do it without the children knowing. They sit them in the classes overnight, and you can see candidates dozing in the examination room. Because they didn't get enough rest. They didn't get enough sleep. They were drilled all the night through. So it is a danger to this society. This is where corruption starts. It begins there. Actually, let me use this other opportunity to extend it a little further. Now, there are elections in the schools for prefects. And some of our parents have gone ahead to sponsor their children to stand for political positions in the schools. This is wrong. It is corruption. So I call upon parents there, please, when your child stands for election in a school, just support. You can give pieces of advice in the way you will address, but don't give money for pancakes and sweets.
And sweets, yeah.
No, that's corruption. And you are already training an officer into corruption.
That is true.
So it must start as early as that primary level.
Indeed. So, Mr. Ntege, being a head teacher, I know you're not doing it at the school, but where do we see this? What happens, you know? Then at the end of the day, we have students being, you know, failing to go to the next level or having to repeat and sit the exams, teachers trying to cheat for their students. What happens along the way? What do we see there? Panic? What goes on?
Well, failing examinations has many factors that contribute to it. Sometimes it depends on the child. And sometimes it depends on the parent. Sometimes it depends on the school or the teacher. Because there are many things that are involved in educating a child. Where the teacher, the child, and the parent have to come together. You assess the child, you analyze the performance, you find ways of helping that child. So sometimes as teachers we fail to do that. And in most cases the parents don't visit children at school.
Yeah.
And the children remain to the school. To some boarding schools you find that even the child is there during the holidays and he hasn't been picked. So this is where the problem comes from. We need to educate our parents, inviting them for meetings, and sometimes you find that they don't come. Mainly men don't want to.
They claim they are busy.
We make meetings on Sundays where they are resting.
Exactly.
And instead they go to beaches and whatnot instead of coming to school.
And they're making themselves busy to earn the money, pay the school fees, but without checking
on where
they
are spending.
They are losing it. So it all ends up in vain. It's really crucial. If you analyze these results properly, you will realize that districts where parents take care of their children are the districts where performance is high. Schools where parents get involved in the learning of their children are the schools that have performed best. It goes without saying. Bringing a child, I want to respond to Mr. Ntege's, to supplement to it. It's like putting a saucepan on 3 cooking stoves. The child is the saucepan, then down here you have the teacher, you have the child, and you have the parent. So the child is this one, but you have the school,
definitely,
the teacher, and then the parent. If you remove any of these, you will have no education. You remove the child, no education. You remove one of this support, you lose it. So it must work all in totality, in harmony, in teamwork.
Sure.
To ensure that you get the results.
Yes. Now, we've seen, of course, you know, when you look at the boys compared to the girls, the boys have done better than the girls. You know, even growing up, these are the things we used to hear. But what we're seeing is the same when it comes to education system. We're seeing the same, if anything, maybe the girl child is given an upper hand at some point, but we're seeing the same resources, the same everything. What is going wrong? Maybe since you're in the system, you could tell us.
Now, we all know that sometimes girls have some problems, like menstruation that disturbs them, and at the primary level, that is the time when they are entering it. So sometimes it also contributes to their low performance. That's why they need help. That's why we have the senior women teachers to do that work, though sometimes they also fail to do it. And then something else, some girls still have that weakness that we are female.
Oh, that's how we are. Yeah, yes, that's how they're brought
Drama,
up.
a girl, mathematics.
I will not manage, and sometimes it comes from home. You are going to school, you see with mathematics, the girls don't do mathematics well. All of that.
But surprisingly, when they are in primary 1, 2, 3, there, the girls shine.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about.
As they grow up, what Mr. Ntege says is saying,
They start identifying themselves.
Adolescence affects them greater than the boys.
Oh, yeah.
They start getting a lot of challenges.
You come to
Words from
P5, they even start
changes.
separating themselves in the class. Girls sit alone, boys sit alone. Though we try, though we try to
merge
to
them.
merge them.
They always see themselves different from the rest. They want
So
to-
we are the
they
problem.
want
The
to
society is the problem.
social. The social norms, the attitude,
Okay.
the character,
and the feelings.
the
And the feelings.
Yes.
So as we wind up, how excited are you about the results that have come out as the head teacher of
Winterland Primary School.
Yes.
I'm very much excited because, first of all, the results came back.
Yes.
Secondly, we do not have a failure. And then these other grades, it depends on the children you have been handling. It's like in the hospital.
Yes.
If you're handling someone who is in a coma, it takes time to recover. And if that child, I mean that patient recovers, it means the doctor has done a very good work,
Yeah.
a very good job. You cannot compare that one to the one who has just given aspirin to someone who has just feeling little fever. So it depends on the children. If you manage to bring up those who are performing very low, and you make them pass, then you must be excited.
And someone.
Yeah.
Indeed. So, Dr. Tony, on behalf of the ministry, the final word to the
On
people.
behalf of the Ministry of Education and Sports, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate all the candidates, congratulate all the teachers, especially those whose results have come back. And I want to encourage them never to lose hope. Even the parents whose children have not performed well, there is always another chance. It's not the end of the world. These children can either repeat or go to learn other things, odd jobs, so that they can be successful in life. They should not lose, they should not punish these children, no, but they should always encourage them to perform better, And to our teachers down there, thank you very much for the job well done. Please continue working hard, make teaching as practical as possible. This is the major reason why our mathematics and science is not yet well performed.
Is that something you do?
Yes, I just wanted
Must be
to
practical.
suggest it to the commissioner that these children who fail at the primary level, can they be helped in a way like those in technical schools where someone goes for a retake and then those children go for the only subject one
That
has
they failed.
Yeah.
As a proposal.
As a proposal.
That's interesting. Well, something
So
interesting
that
has
they
come
also
You can start
have a certificate
Yes.
that we completed primary
up. School.
School.
Instead of failing out totally.
instead of failing totally,
Interesting.
and then you divert to another area.
Interesting. Now, gentlemen, because of time, I'll definitely cut you short. But thank you so much, Mr. Ntege. We do appreciate you for coming, and of course, knowing that. By the way, congratulations, to you and your school for the good performance there. And of course, Mr. Ntege Benun Sempala is the head teacher of Winterland Primary School at the extreme end there. And right next to me here is Dr. Tony Mukasa Lusambu, who is the commissioner in charge of basic education from the Ministry of Education. A couple of things have been talked about. And hey, how about the idea that Mr. Ntege here has proposed to the commissioner over here? I mean, if we did things like how you take on a retake, then why not? Indeed. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I do appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations.
Thank you for
Indeed.